If the last decade was defined by compute, the next will be defined by data freedom, making sensitive information usable without giving up control or privacy. This is critical for AI, where models' quality, trust, and even business models depend on safe, legally compliant access to diverse data. Founder of Super Protocol is building the infrastructure to make this possible, enabling companies and individuals to run AI on confidential data in secure environments. He'll explain why data freedom is the next major unlock for AI. Joining us now, Nukri.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you for having me. I'm Nukri, founder Super Protocol, ex-PhD in nuclear physics, numerous projects in intellectual property management, data management, in decentralized confidential mode, awarded by Microsoft and Intel many times in this area. A few words today regarding my plan presentation. I wanted to briefly touch on the most sensitive data-driven domains where we're actually building real projects. There are a few places where data has the power to transform entire industries' domains, but also where privacy, trust, and collaboration matter most. You can find this role or opportunities in any AI-driven project, right? And my hope is that a short overview will spark your curiosity and inspire you to ask even more questions. And because the future of these domains depends on all of us rethinking how we use data. Think about this. In 2024, humanity generated about 150 zettabytes of data. It's 150 billion of terabyte of data. By the end of 2025, we will hit 200 terabytes. But this is a catch, almost, because 80% of this data sits in the private clouds. In your company, in AI companies, everywhere, owned by this data is always owned by companies, but collected from us. Right? And you probably never get it back. Even more shocking, only about 1% of this data is ever analyzed. The other 99% just sits there, and experts call it dark data. You can easily remember it like healthcare records, financial transactions, supply chain data, delivery data, retail data. And every data pieces we provided to companies who are serving us is fully locked and all locked away. Behind legal and, of course, technical and privacy barriers, organizations, of course, first, they are afraid to share this data because sharing could mean lose control, exposing customers, breaking compliance rules, but at the same time, they are using it there for internal needs, right? And here is the opportunity. The enormous hidden ocean of data is a fuel for future personal AI assistants, AI services, any AI data-driven products. And AI that could help us healthy, by the way, or earn more, or make smarter choice every day. And yet today it's stuck, locked away, waiting for someone brave enough to unlock it. What if we could unlock it safely? What would that world look like if we unlock this 99% of this data? Imagine you work at bank and texting your clients regarding their mortgage or your doctor. Your phone is full of your patient's PDF and data and other very sensitive private transactions. Today, almost every AI application sends those files and data to the cloud, right? And if you are you need to always care about this. And of course, explain to your customers every time who should trust whom in this collaboration, right? Because your customers need to trust you or you trust them to provide your solution on their premises. And you have no idea who is reading this data, right? And even if they promise, of course, anonymity, if those files or this data leak, that's fines, lawsuits, reputation gone, right? And in Super Protocol, we decided to change that. We call it embedded confidential computing. AI runs inside of these premises, inside of your secure environment, and your phone or your laptop can work with AI, with documentation, with this PDF in fully confidential mode. The data never leaves your control, like you have your private key of your house and no one can enter it without your keys, right? No data even leaves your control, never. even if your company admin account is hacked. Like, it's easy to imagine this case. Or if attacker gets inside your firewall, your data stays safe in safe mode because it's a confidential computing environment. Only you hold these keys. No one else has these keys, and no one else can decrypt or extract your data from this confidential computing environment. What does it mean? For businesses, I believe banks, hospitals, governmental agencies, anyone spending millions on compliance, right? And they can now build confidential AI services right into their applications natively, with no extra development, with no extra barriers. Just put your application inside of confidential computing environment, and that's all. And of course, we can easily cut these privacy costs, right? By the way, in the United States, we have bank pays up to $100 million a year in a privacy fines. And our technology can prevent much of that. For investors, the privacy-first AI market will exceed about $10 billion in 2028. Right now, I believe it's open window next few years. Startups can lead this wave. For us, for humanity, for people like friend of mine, for journalists can search through their documents, through databases on their iPhones, or without fearing that the drafts end up in a wrong hands. Or doctor can use his personal iPad or other instruments to look up a patient's notes, but without risk of data leakage, right, inside or outside the clinic or hospital. That level of privacy simply did not exist before. And for us, for humanity, AI is leaving the public cloud. Privacy becomes truly real, latency drops, and I believe that we are expecting a lot of user experience changes. But there is a new challenge. Regulation can no longer see what happens inside. Regarding if AI becomes truly private, everything changes, right? No just privacy, no just compliance, even the way we find information. Search as we know it, right? Is that we don't search, we talk with AI. Algorithms don't just find answers. They collect, they interpret and connect the data. They create ecosystem around us, right? And every click becomes a signal, every touch, and becomes a fuel for your personal AI. But don't forget, it goes to public cloud and private premises. And entire ecosystem, business models, interfaces, user journeys will be reshaped or vanish. And this is happening in the world's largest data-driven market. Number one, currently is worth $500 billion today, and growing up to 1.5 trillion by 2030. And everyone knows it. It's a digital marketing, fully based on Google-centric world. Now it's rapidly changing. And of course, we have to think about that. Another very promising, interesting market is healthcare. Today, healthcare data. And that's why we, together with top US universities, are building a trusted privacy-preserved space where hospitals, universities, and biotech companies can share data safely, unlocking faster drug discovery, by the way, and truly personalized care without risk of data compromising. Take Delphi 2M, and AI securely analyzed the records of 400,000 patients validated on 2 million patients' histories, and they can predict 1,500 disease up to 20 years ahead. It just not as a spot risk. It connects dots, diabetes and heart disease, depressions and cancer, even drug interaction across conditions. This shifts healthcare from treating illness to managing health like a subscription, prediction, preventing, and keeping us well. But same time, never forget this data is aggregated in huge amount of data centers. Your private data will be aggregated, and this number is rapidly growing. Imagine this, you spend years. By the way, I'm mentioning domains where we are actively working, and we know DNA of these domains. This is not something like future, right? We know in details how it works. And you spend years writing a book, and you publish it on Amazon, and a couple of years later, you see pieces of your book, of your text coming back in AI answers. You check your book was scrapped from a pirate library and fed into a dataset. Recently, we learned Anthropic downloaded 7 million books from Gen, something like that, right? And other shadow archives to train Claude. Authors were furious and want to cut, right? And the result, $1.5 billion in payouts, $3,000 per book, plus extra payments if more pirated materials will be found. The judge was crystal clear. Legally purchased book, fair use. Pirated copies, infringement. And every illegal file must be destroyed. And this is just beginning. Next in line, you heard a lot in New York Times, visual artists, music labels, software developers, gaming studios, pharma, and so on, even banks of genomic. It's similar settlement in the total cloud reached tens of billion. So what does it mean? For businesses, the official licensing market for AI training just opened. Publishers, studios, labs, archives, they can now sell across to their catalogs. A brand new niche is emerging, clean, fully licensed data sets. For investors, winners will be those who will build licensing platform for digital assets and control wide data. AI labs will have no choice but to pay. For creators, I believe this is absolutely new epoch, real chance to get paid. Everyone who was involved previously in this market, it was really problematic years for real authors. But today, every book, every song, every model now comes with a check. And for all of us, for the first time, we have drawn the lines. Fair use stays. Piracy is toxic. This will accelerate the creation global content licensing market. Without it, AI cannot truly take off. And regarding super protocol, I'm always dreaming, you can imagine billions of people around the world, they're sharing their medical histories, transactions, and experience safely and anonymously. In other words, in self-sovereign mode. With the open source super protocol, doing becomes as easy and secure, like you are adding HTTPS, everyone knows this protocol, HTTPS to your service or your product. It works in absolutely the same way. This is not just more data, it's a key to AI that understands all of humanity, not just a small part of it. Our approach is detailedly explained on websites of NVIDIA, Google, and Ubuntu. We are working with top clouds and other cloud providers to make our service fully open sourced, fully verifiable, and useful for every cloud-based or private-based solution of sovereign AI, self-sovereign AI. It's a little bit opposite to global AI providers who are collecting our data and train and providing these services from centralized, private, cannibalizing mode. And I believe that when we are owning our data, AI stops being their tool and becomes our tool. And I believe this is a new human-centric opportunity for our world. And yeah, this is what we are achieving in Super. Thank you for your attention. I'm finishing. I will be happy please share your questions. We'll be happy to discuss it more about insights of the mentioned domains, and always happy to share everything what we know in this field. Thank you.
Thank you, Nukri, for showing us why data freedom is such a critical piece of the AI puzzle.